I just had to showcase this clip. As you guys see, this is not something you see out of Kulprit every day. Enjoy the clip. Today I want to talk about my hopes for Battlefield 4. We know it's coming, but we don't know very much about it. I'm going to outline some things that I really hope that DICE embraces while making Battlefield 4 to make all of us enjoy a much better game. Hey guys, how's it going? Kulprit here. And like I mentioned, today I want to talk about what I'm hoping DICE embraces for Battlefield 4, how I'm hoping they approach it, and what I would like to see most from Battlefield 4 coming next fall. First, let me introduce the video. This is Rush Attack on Sharky Peninsula. This gameplay is a little bit old now. As you guys know, like I said in the previous video, I've been playing Aftermath all the time pretty much, so this is a little older. Been on my hard drive, but I've been saving it because as I watched the video back, man, I remembered this match. This match was intense. It was chaotic. I felt like each side was barely hanging on by their fingertips. You'll notice there's I'm playing with some 008 guys, Ertzi, Admiral, a bunch of other guys I can't quite see on my Vegas screen right now. And there's some sprinkled on the opposing team as well, as we like to do to balance things out. And you'll see a lot of my deaths come from those guys. But yeah, it was like the first MCOMs, we had a really hard time capturing them. As you see, it was, if this was a 25-minute match, I would say 15-20 minutes were set on those first MCOMs. And then after that, once we kind of got them, then we kind of never let them get established again and kind of ran the table. But it was a great match. It was a lot of fun. I had big swings where I would go 7 or 8 kill streak, and then I would die 5-6 times trying to spawn in. It was kind of crazy. It was frustrating but rewarding at the same time. Good match. Wanted to share it with you guys. So if you guys watched my video from yesterday where I kind of talked about how the arc of the Bad Company franchise, or the Bad Company line of games, and the Battlefield line of games have gotten very close now, to the point where I think arguing over what game should have come next, be it Bad Company 3 or Battlefield 4, I think it's really just arguing kind of semantics. It's arguing over the title. Sure, there's some flavor differences, like I said, the humor and things like that. But as far as the core game and what the game we're going to play for a year or 2 years, I don't think it's going to would be a very different game, frankly. A lot of you guys have commented on the campaign and the single player. I enjoyed the single player in Bad Company 2, but listen, for this argument, I'm completely disregarding the single player because, frankly, it just doesn't matter. I'm sorry, for the longevity of a game, we're talking over the time of a year to 2 years. The single player matters so little, it just doesn't matter for the argument, in my opinion. And honestly, I think DICE probably approaches it very similarly. One of my points for Battlefield 4, and I guess I'll get right into it right now, one of my big hopes for Battlefield 4 is they'll scrap the single player. To me, as much as I might play it and enjoy it for that week that maybe I play it, overall, again, for the whole arc of the game, it's a waste of resources. Battlefield 3 storyline was not very good. It was not well done. It was boring. It was kind of on rails. To me, they wasted a lot of man hours. They wasted a lot of resources on that I felt that time would have been better served finishing the multiplayer. Same could be said for the co-op missions, because we all know that those are pretty poorly done, and tying them into weapons was not a very good idea in my opinion. So the basic concept of what I want to talk about today is my hopes for Battlefield 4. Now, some of you guys are probably going to get at me with some hate and not be happy with what I have to say, but I'm trying to be honest about this, and I'm trying to be realistic about this, and basically what I'm hoping, the approach I'm hoping DICE takes is almost delivering us a Battlefield 3.5. Yes, that is what I'm hoping. Why? I love Battlefield 3. It's my favorite game possibly of all time. You know, putting aside nostalgia from when I was a kid, certainly the biggest game I've played in my recent history. I love the game. There are flaws, absolutely. And there are things that need to be fixing, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. I want them to take the approach of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Battlefield 3 is not broken. I think it's a great game. I think it's got a lot of things going for it. I would rather they focus on the things that need fixing than revolutionizing things. You know, I'm worried that if they try to revolutionize things and they try to just kind of add all this pizzazz to the series now, they're going to ruin it. Because I don't have a lot of faith in them, in their innovation right now, to be honest. I would rather they sit down and address the issues that we've all moaned about for over a year now, as well as deliver on some of the things they promised us that never came. Things like competitive play support, battle recorder, in-game voice op for the PC. How you doing? Input lag finally actually really gone from the PS3. These are things that I feel like must be in Battlefield 4, and I hope, if they really just did that for Battlefield 4, I'd probably be pretty happy. And I know I'm weird, but there's a lot of other errors that I'd like to see them obviously work on. I mean, to me, the biggest advantage they have going into Battlefield 4 is they have so much more data for Frostbite 2. Remember, Battlefield 3 was not only a new game, it was a new game on a new engine, and that's a huge mountain of unknown there, guys. You have to understand that delivering a new engine is a monstrous task. It's much harder than building a game. So launching 2 new things at once, the fact that they had so little actually go wrong is pretty remarkable, to be quite honest. Now, at this point, they're gonna have 2 years with Frostbite 2 with Battlefield 3. Plus, they've had some lead time in there with the engine to play with. Plus, Frostbite 2 has now run so many other games. They should really have a very good knowledge of the engine itself, and it should have a lot more polish at that point. I would certainly hope so. So to build a new game, Battlefield 4, on top of the same engine for the second iteration and have so much more experience with it, my hopes are going to be pretty high that they can really deliver a lot of wow factor, you know, be that a lot more destruction, things like that. I absolutely want to see more destruction. The level of destruction in Battlefield 3 was, bottom line, unacceptable. They use excuses about, you know, map flow and things like this. Well, then design your maps better. Don't give me a line of BS saying we couldn't destroy, we had to turn down destruction because if you blew up certain buildings on certain maps, the maps became imbalanced. Well, then that's poor design. Okay, when Bad Company 2 had destruction and it was something we all loved about it, and then you take it out for the newer iteration of the game, that's lazy, in my opinion. Now, there is obviously some concerns about the consoles and can they handle it and stuff. Again, this is the type of thing I'm pointing to when I say they now have almost 3 years of experience with the engine. Let's hope. I mean, what they pulled out of the consoles in Battlefield 3 was no short of amazing. Let's hope they can just squeeze a little bit more. Please, next generation consoles, get here soon, because, I mean, you might not want to face the ugly truth, but you're flat out holding the PC back. And I wish they wouldn't let that happen, but it does. So what are we going to do about it? But basically the core of what I want to see them do, obviously, is polish the game engine more. What does that mean? Polish the hit detection. That's number one. I don't have as much issues as a lot of people do, but I know that some people have pretty big issues with the hit detection in Battlefield 3. Sure, I get shot around walls and these things. I tend to have a pretty good ping, so I don't see it as much, but it's there. And why not? It should be fixed. It should be kind of... It's always going to be there, frankly, but let's just lessen it. Let's get it as good as we can. Again, experience with the engine and map design. Fix the landscape snags, you know, the little tree branches, the chain link flints you can't jump over, or the bush you can't shoot through. These things are incredibly frustrating, and they should not be there. This as well goes with destruction. There's trees on Metro that you can shoot down with your gun that are 3 feet around, and there's other maps where you can't shoot through a little bush. These things need to be fixed. Again, with your experience with the engine now, these should be doable, I would think. Again, I said more destruction absolutely has to be part of Battlefield 4. If you do not deliver more destruction, I think that's a failure. And this all goes hand in hand with the biggest thing for me. Learn from the maps. Learn what worked, learn what didn't work, learn what people liked, learn what people didn't like. People enjoyed Aftermath maps. Why? Because the vehicles are in balance with the infantry. They support the infantry. They're not at the spear. They're not dominating the landscape. Okay, it's an infantry-focused game. That's what the people want right now. That's what the numbers are telling you. You've pointed at Metro. You've pointed at Bazaar for months and months and months. Bring us more maps like that. Design them better, though. I'm not saying you get a free pass and you get to just design 3-lane maps. No, come on, those days are over. Let's evolve a little bit. Let's you know, show some initiative and innovate in the map design. That's the biggest thing for me. I don't want to see much advancement and revolutionizing of the game, but map design I want to see improve, probably the greatest of any facet of the game. Again, polish the engine. That should be done regardless. I mean, it should already be going. It should be an ongoing process. Like I said, Frostbite 2 has run many other games at this point, so I think even without them trying very hard, putting a new game on the engine, we will see a lot more polish. Let's better balance the classes. As much as I love my assault class and being able to do everything, it's not good for gameplay. Now, I don't necessarily like the Bad Company 2 way because it didn't feel right for me to be a medic with an LMG. It just didn't feel right. But you know, that kind of paper rock scissors, you know, the best tools should not be matched up with the best guns. Should, you know, that obviously we think that needs some balancing. I think everybody would pretty much agree on that, but don't necessarily revert to Bad Company 2 because again, it just never felt right for me to be lumbering around an LMG and at the same time be the medic. Now, excuse me. I know that might have been a small detail to most, but you know, it did stick in my, you know, side a little bit that I just couldn't get over that. Plus, we all knew the fact of the assault kit with the 320 with the never-ending ammo pack was a problem. So things don't necessarily go back to the old Bad Company template, but let's just rebalance and rethink the things again. Again, I talked about maps. I can't stress maps enough. And lastly, I'm going to touch on again, like I said, unreached promises. Now, maybe they didn't flat out tell us these things were coming, but they certainly hinted at them, and they said that they would pursue them. The two biggest ones for me are supporting competitive gaming, supporting competitive play. A lot of you guys might not care. You might not understand why I think that's so important. To me, I believe it's a trickle-down effect. If they support competitive play, you're going to attract the best players. The best player is going to play the game at a high level. And then that will enable DICE and the developers to balance the game in such a way that the game becomes incredibly balanced. It becomes incredibly fair, because it has to be for a competitive game. So you start to see the flaws very obviously. When you don't support competitive play and you just kind of cater to who moans the loudest, to me, it's a fault in design and balancing. So I'd like to see them support competitive play a lot more, because they didn't do it at all, frankly. Battle recorder. I know this is just YouTubers mostly and things like that, but man, if you could include a battle recorder in this game, I would be so incredibly happy, and the production values you will see on YouTube will be incredible. The investment they make in developing a battle recorder will pay them back multitudes of times in the free publicity they would get on YouTube. They need to do this. They need to realize this, get it done. And like I mentioned, in-game voice op, input lag gone, the list goes on and on. They should have a very obvious list at this point of the things that don't work. Just go down that checklist and get it done. You should have been working on it anyway. Finish it. In the end, yes, I realize I'm probably going to pay twice for the same game. I'm okay with that if that game is done and it reaches the potential I see this game having. Don't revolutionize this game. Think more Battlefield 3.5. I'll be happy, and I think everybody would be more happy as well, although I'm sure I'm going to get plenty of disagreements. But I welcome them, guys. In the comments, please let me know what you think. Remember, likes, favorites, tweets out to your friends always help me. Support is great. I definitely could use it. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.